This video will demonstrate how to get information from Matasys. Like before, you're going to need a VPN, specifically this one, 128.61.157.249. So you're going to need a login and password for that, and then you're also going to need a login and password for this Matasys launcher. So the description, like IP hostname, is 172.28.156.12. Just gonna go and like add that in, and then launch. Enter your username and password, and then you'll get here. You'll open up this thing, and this is where you can get all your information. So for this one, I'm just gonna do like a short example just so you can see how to do it. We're going to use Clough as a example again. So this is kind of weird because you have to right click and then click view to get anywhere. But that's how you, but you know, so you have area 1 2 3 4 and then this, excuse me. And then you can also like expand it out this way, but it's easier just to kind of right click view and get to things. So this will like show how to get trends, and then I'll show you how to gather trends in a little bit. So let's just pick the first one, this occupancy, view it, go to trend, new, just click the first one, don't click on anything. And here you can name it kind of whatever you want, so just name it example. The start time is kind of important because whenever you pick the start time is at the interval it'll log. So and if you don't pick the right start time, it just actually won't start. And if you're setting up a lot of trends and you don't think you can do it all in one day, make sure you pick the start time with enough leeway that you can make sure you get all your trends, because if not, you're gonna have a staggering starts, and it's gonna be kind of a pain to do. So I'm just gonna pick tomorrow and then midnight. You can also pick a stop time if you want. Unspecified means that it will basically go on forever. This buffer size, I'm not sure it's why it's 144, but that is the number of logs it will take, and then the interval is how quickly it will log it. So you can, so right now it's at 10 minutes because it's in seconds, and then this means it'll log 144 data points at the 10-minute interval. So you can change that however you want. I think the maximum buffer size is 5,000. Yeah. I think it's 5, yeah. Yeah, so the maximum buffer size is 5,000. So I'm just an example. And then you don't have to, if, basically you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. And I just picked 10 as an example. And then stop when full, you can either have that false or true. So if you just wanted to log and you don't care about what's going to happen in the future, weeks after that, you can just turn it off. Click next and then finish. And then you'll see your example here. And there won't be anything because it's not tomorrow yet and hasn't started logging. So now what you're going to need to do is, I would recommend doing just one to begin with, one trend, and then go here to trend study, and you need to pick the location where it's going to be. So we're going to pick like Clough or Clough. There's multiple ones. Usually there's just one or two. This building has several, so I'm just going to pick the first one. Click next, and then if there's like a trend studies folder, you can hello? Okay, whatever. So I'm just gonna call it example study. Okay, now we have to select the trend we just established. So look at the front. So NA98 is 98. So is it like everything is right up here. So usually these are under FC1. It doesn't show up anywhere, but that's where it is. So like mechanical FEC4 and then AG1. So that's what we're looking at. And then here's all the things that were back there. So we just did the first one, which is occupancy, and then example. Click next. Change this to absolute time, and then make sure you adjust this to whatever the current time is. So it's 10:50 and 10 minutes. So good enough. If you did more than one trend, you can like so you just only did like two and they're right next to each other. You can hit the plus icon, and it'll take forever because I'm recording video. And you can, so you'll basically get the same thing back again, and you can go and add more trends this way. It's basically the exact same thing as before. But sometimes, like, if you're doing a lot, you might forget which ones you have and have not trended, so it's easier to kind of do it this way. And just do the one. So next, and then finish. So now we need to go to all items. User view, and we were in area 4, so we're gonna go to area 4. We're gonna go to this one. Expand it out, and then trend studies. So this is just kind of where it is. So you can click edit, and then add references. Then you go down to where we were. So we put it in 98, and then this is where we put that trend. So if we clicked on here, or if it let us click on there, we could put it in one of these. But so this is the example trend study, and this is so when you go and look at it later, you'll actually be able to see it. So now we have our example study, and then save, and you would have to log back out and then log back in for it to show up. So that's what we're gonna do. So so now if we go to area 4, move this over, go to trend studies, and then we have our example trend. So we can view it that way. Now you can also go to panel layout and separate it into two. So if you're adding multiple trends, so that way you know the names. Like some of the names are kind of cryptic and don't really make that much sense. So I'm gonna expand this out. Just go to make another trend. So I'm gonna grab like the next one down, pull it down here. You can also just do it this way, and then right click, view, trend, new, next. Then you do the same thing, start time, buffer size, interval, everything like that. Make sure that the most important one is the interval. Make sure they're all the same, because if not, then when you try and grab a trend, it won't line up properly, and you have to just do it individually. But the next thing I'm going to show you is how to grab trends. So same thing, next, finish. So when you go, so the trend, this is where you see the values, but you go to the book, edit, plus. You can also delete trends if you don't want them anymore. And it's being slow. And there we go. And then you click save, and you're done. And that's how you make trends. There is a limit to how many you can have in one trend study. I think it's somewhere like 32. So if you have more than 32 trends, or you're approaching that number, you might want to make a secondary trend study and just kind of add them in there, depending on what you're doing. All right, so now we're going to show you just how to view trends. So I'm going to look at just AHU5, just so I can. This is the one right above it. So as you see, it's going to gather the information that we had, and these are the trends that we have in this study. So you can select up to 10 at a time. With this button, it'll pick the top 10. After the top 10, you have to like unclick them, then click each one individually. And if you go to this one, this will show you like all the information in like an Excel in a table format. And if you click copy to clipboard and then you open Excel, you can just paste it right in. It'll have the time and stuff like that. So, and then you can just go and like remove it so it starts at midnight or whenever, like that. Alright, and that's pretty much everything for Matasys.